I hope we are live. Are we live? Bum, 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 bum. Yep. Let's roll the intro first. Hello, heroes. This is episode 12 of the Tuesday tournament reviews. In this series, I have a guest who brings me a tournament, and we go through all the questionable hands together with the help of CheckDecide, which is a tool I'm the founder of. CheckDecide is basically about uploading full tournaments or hand packages and comparing decisions. So in CheckDecide, whenever I have access to a hand, I face exactly the same decisions as the original hero did when playing the hand. So I have to make my decision, and let's say I suggest an all-in bet here, and then my decision is displayed with a sad emoji because it didn't match the decision of the original player, which was Questje in that case. But we'll welcome him soon. Anyways, welcome to the show. I'm really happy to have you back here. How are you? How
Yo,
was your
I'm good.
last week?
Yeah. I didn't play as much as I normally do. I took like a couple days off, but sometimes that's needed.
Yeah, sure.
Um, if you don't feel like it, or you're tired, or other real life gets in the way. But I'm excited to play again tonight and tomorrow, and I stream 4 days a week still. So okay, let's keep going, right?
Yeah, if you don't know Questje, he's definitely one of the most colorful streamers. If not for us, then for the head and the glasses. But I also checked his stream, and it has a very special atmosphere with the air horn army and all
Yeah,
the
cool.
like walking animation and whatever. It's amazing. One day I would like to have that professional set you have with all the animations.
Thanks for the compliments. Yeah.
Yeah,
Slowly we change it and make it better, and yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
and let's see who we have in the chat here. We have Peter 69.
Peter.
Is Peter your guy? Your
Yeah,
regular?
yeah, he's a moderator and regular in my channel. Yes.
Okay, great.
He's also Dutch. He lives in the same city as I do, actually. Pretty
Okay.
funny story, but
I played my
yeah,
first. I played my
yeah.
first live tournament in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Your first ever.
Yeah, basically the first ever real money live event. Yeah, somehow my friend convinced me to travel there through like plane and train and whatever, and we played a 1K tournament there. But
Cool.
whatever.
That's cool.
Anyway, we also have Anna Adrian Dominguez. He's a huge regular of Check the Side and also of the stream. Very talented guy. He already improved a ton. Hopefully, a little bit by the help of Check the Side as well. I reviewed a few tournaments of him. He definitely has all the aggression, like in a good way, to take down big tournaments. I would
Yeah.
not be surprised at all if one day he would become a real like monster gangster crusher. But yeah, like obviously he needs a lot of like fine tuning in his in his game.
Cool.
Yeah, he
Wish,
also
wish him all
plays.
the
Yeah,
best.
he also plays a lot of spins. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he takes ranges like really wide. Because obviously, if you are used to a three-handed game, then yeah, you think like think differently about
You
the
think
range.
King eight suited? Whoa, that's a nuts.
Yeah, like, but it's better to go that way. So once you are familiar playing like really wide ranges, then the rest is going to be easy to tighten up. Sometimes play tighter ranges. That's always easier. But like really like heads up and spins, can give you the real killer attitude to the game, which is necessary
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to be successful in tournaments. Whatever. Let's get back to a little bit of check this out just to like show you how it works. So first of all, I see exactly the same decisions as you did when playing the hand. And let's say I suggest a rejam, then it didn't match the decision of yours. And the hand always continues according to your original play. So on the flop, I have to make a decision. This time I check, and then I face a C bet. Oh no, I don't. There is a check back. So on the turn, I have to make a decision whether to bet, check, if bet, how big I want to bet. And in this case, I decide to make a huge bet. We will discuss soon why I think that's better than just a normal size bet. And we can see that this is highlighted with the yellow color below the replayer, because the step is correct. You also made a bet, but I made a significantly larger bet than you did. And
Yeah, interesting.
and on this river, like really this river is quite bad for a range. Not like your opponent can have some hands like ace 4, ace 3. He always plays this way. He cannot really have like flushes. You can. So in this case, I think maybe a tiny like blocking bet, just to keep him away from raising you, can be efficient.
Yeah.
If you do the same with some of your flushes, then his hands are tied, and I think that's probably the best way. But checking is fine as well, and this was unfortunate. Anyway, so by the end of the hand, we can see that in this hand, I matched your decisions 35%. This doesn't mean good or bad or anything. Check this out is really just about comparing two human player, like how they play, how they think about the game, and then they can identify which spots they need to discuss and which spots they don't. So if you open this multibar and you select my name, then my match percentages compared to your original plays are displayed, and we can see that talking about these hands would be a waste of time, but we already discussed this one and this one because there my match percentages were really low compared to your original play. And in the last show, we finished with this Jack 9 suited, if I remember correctly. And now let's talk a little bit about the decisions I made in this this hand. So first of all, pre-flop is like a little bit questionable. The very standard is just calling here, but if you think that your opponent is really on the wide side, like he opens like 35%, 40% or something like that, then jamming this kind of offsuit holdings are surprisingly profitable. They can make you like 2 big blind profit or 3 big blind. No, not 3 big blind, but somewhere around 2 big blind if your opponent is really loose. And by defending, you will not be able to make 2 big blind profit. That's almost for sure. And therefore, rejamming can be a very powerful tool against a really loose opener. Against tight openers, flatting is fine. And I think in this spot, a 30 big blind stack will open relatively wide to a 5 big blind stack and to a handcuffed 17 big blind stack who, with the bounty on his head, will probably rejam really tight. And they don't expect too much action from you from the big blind other than calling. So I think his range will be really wide, and I really like a rejam here. Also, you can put a lot of pressure on him. Like, what do you think he would call your rejam here with, roughly?
Oh, for 30 blinds, yeah, pretty tight, right? I mean, we cover him. So I would assume something like 10s plus, ace queen plus or something. Maybe.
Yeah, like it depends.
Or a bit looser, maybe, if he knows that I do that.
Yeah, obviously. But the key is that if you rejam these type of holdings, which have very solid equity if called. Like this may sound strange, but these hands are like, if he starts like raise calling you with ace nine suited, or like sevens or sixes or whatever, many times you don't really lose value because or EV, because you are flipping anyways.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
you have blocker effect, right? You block kings, tens, ace king a little bit.
Yeah. That's also strong, a strong reason. We have a question from Fedor Pots. I really like the nickname. It's like some kind of Hungarian
Yeah.
like word joke. He's asking like, okay, lose opener, but his lose fishy caller too, still good. Well, if he starts raise calling you with like ace 10 off or ace 10 suited, or hands which dominate you, like king queen suited, king jack suited, or stuff like that, then obviously rejamming is not good any longer. But in any normal circumstances, you can expect those hands to fold like 99% of the time. So there is merit in rejamming. I'm not saying it's like mandatory or anything, but in many cases you do better. It's like he opens like 30, 35%, 40%, and you and he calls you with, I think they will call you with like sevens plus, most likely, because with the rejam you have a lot of smaller pocket pairs as well. So I think in his shoes you would definitely have to go with sevens, probably with sixes as well. Not sure about the ICM pressure he has. Like this was probably the last two tables, or
Yeah, pretty deep we are, but yeah, not sure where exactly. But
yeah, like so there is some ISM pressure on him. So I think he will go some with something like sixes plus, sevens plus, and ace queen plus, most likely. I think he mostly will fold ace jack suited, but that's
yeah,
one.
I would have a hard time calling with like sevens or eights there for my tournament life. Maybe I know it's plus EV, but I would have a hard time. So yeah,
Yeah, then it's
yeah,
even better. Like
But-
if you can
yeah,
fold that, yeah, it's but
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So it can be surprisingly profitable if the opener is really light. If your opponent is tight, then this can be a disaster to rejam. So this is really player dependent. In most circumstances, I think rejamming here is okay. Flatting is fine as well. And on
But
the
do you ever three bet smaller pre, like go to four blinds or something, or
no, I don't like it that like from the big blind. You generally want to three bet really polar ranges, like
okay, yeah,
your very best hands for non all in here, and some crappy hands with some like blockerish effect, like king four of suit, or king deuce of suit, or some like low suited connectors or suited gappers, like a 6-4 suited or something like that. You can three bet from time to time, and that can be a really efficient way. But three bet folding king 10 off would be like too much of a waste of equity if you
yeah.
place a rejam, because then he can just rejam like fives to your face, or whatever he wants to. So then you don't put as much pressure on him as you can with the rejam. Yeah. Anyways, the call is fine. The on the flop, it is quite surprising he checks this flop back. What do you think of his checking back ranges?
Cool. Yeah, it's really surprising, to be honest. I would expect to see bet a lot there. So maybe he has like pocket queen sometimes that does that for like pot control, uh, something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe some total air like queen five of hearts,
Mhm.
if he opens that,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Like I think
Bet
he
like 80% of the time probably, or 90.
Yeah, like in practice, he could probably get away with c betting range here, especially against
Hmm.
the lower stakes fields, because they don't check raise for value wide enough. They don't check raise for bluffs aggressively enough. So he can probably not lose money by c-betting the entire range. When they don't c-bet, I think their ranges are very, very weighted towards pocket queens, pocket jacks, ace four, ace three, which they would like to put control with. And to oppose this this agenda, you want to overbet the turn, because with the king,
Okay. Cool.
you like. What do you think? Like how? What percentages are you ahead here on the turn with this king 10?
Against their check back range.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a lot, right? If he has under pairs and yeah, like 80% or something.
Yeah,
Probably.
I think like more like 95% or 99.
Okay.
Like
Okay. Yeah.
I have very hard time imagining any hand that beats you. Maybe pocket eights got there, or 8-4 suited, or maybe some like kings, or I I it I really have a hard time like imagining like how you are not ahead, like king eight, sometimes king eight suited, but that's like two combinations. So I think over 90% of the times you are ahead here with king 10, and many times he has some kind of mate hand which he would like to put control with, and to go against this plan of his, you generally want to overbet here, because you it's not risky, because you are almost always ahead, but this supports your bluff probes a lot, because you will have hands like 6-4 flush draw, or 6-5, or any flush draw, or even hands like ace 4, ace deuce, ace 5. You want to bet with real fold equity here, and to back these plans, these semi bluff bets on the turn. In this spot, you want to use a huge bet. It would be much different, like the other typical case of this is called probing, or probing the turn, when it went check on the flop and you bet the turn. That's called probe. And the other like typical case of probing, which takes a really different approach, is when your opponent checks back a flop which really favors your range, where he has to be cautious with c-bet. So if the flop was something like 6-4 prey, or 7-5-4, or something like that, which gives you, the big blind, a lot of offsuit two pairs, offsuit straights, then he has a hard time c-betting light on the texture, because you can check raise a lot on that one. So therefore he is forced to check behind a lot, and he has to check behind a lot of ace highs, king highs, queen highs. And given that in that case his range is like really weak, really easy to attack, and you have a lot of hands you want to bet either for value or just for protection, like bottom pairs, second pairs. You on those in those type of situations, you can bet the turn with a small bet, and bet really wide. Basically, almost your entire range you can bet on the turn in those cases. But this is much different, because in this case, his range looks like mate hands and hands that want to put control. So you don't want to make it easy for him. You just want to go with a huge bet, put a lot of pressure on his medium holdings, and go from there. Many times you have to give up on the river, but you want to put maximum pressure on the turn, where you have some draws and some top pairs. And the river is like really bad. If you are facing an opponent who is tricky enough, who is aggressive enough to like turn some hands, like I don't know what he can have, like 5-4 or 6-4 suited or something like that, into a bluff on the river, and therefore you want to take this opportunity from him, and you want to apply a blocking bet, because you have flushes and he doesn't. Then this can be okay against the normal guy, especially one who checks back ace queen in this spot.
Yeah,
you can feel very comfortable just check folding probably.
yeah, yeah. I make a lot of those blocking bets lately, and it kind of working out. I feel, but sometimes it's so hard to fold. Then after you do, you have to fold if they raise.
Yeah,
And then sometimes I put myself into a call again. Then, but yeah,
yeah, the key is that you can apply these blocking bets in spots when your opponent's range is is kept. So he have some super monsters he doesn't have, and then therefore he has to be cautious raising you. That's the key. But let me see. Like I'm trying to check the. Why the hell don't I see? Um, I just I just want to see my. Oh, there you go. The chat a little bit better. All right.
yeah. We have Alex, also a moderator in my channel, and I
Uh-huh.
think I saw also a follow from Ace of Spades. He followed the channel, so we thank him for that. Welcome.
Yeah. Ed, Adrian asked, like, so he never has flushes. I'm not saying never, because he can have some hands like um, 5-4 of spades maybe, or but given the ace of spade arrived, it is really hard for him to have flushes. Like really he needs some what what kind of
Yeah.
flushes he can
Yeah,
like.
and he bets the flop with them a lot, right? So yeah, there's two reasons for him. That's hard to have a flush.
Yeah, really hard on this ace of spade river. He will have flushes very infrequently, and yeah, therefore this is a good spot to make a block bet. So if he has an ace, you only lose 90,000, but
Yeah.
yeah,
If he
but
bets more and we would have called that, then it saves us money.
yeah. At least it takes away a bluffing opportunity, a good bluffing opportunity from him, because he doesn't have a hand strong enough to raise your small bet on the river, especially
But
if.
if he bets like half pot or more, don't we check fold usually anyway? Or
In practice, I would usually check fold because I don't see
yeah,
people being creative enough to turn hands like uh, five,
5-6 or something. Yeah,
5-4 or
5-4.
something
Yeah,
like that into a bluff. And even if they do, that's just a few suited combinations as compared to his entire range with all the ace x hands and ace four, ace straight, two pairs, and yeah, I think we just don't do good enough. All right, let's see the next one.
yeah,
Uh,
cool. I like
and
your analysis there. That was a cool hand
yeah,
to
like
learn
this.
stuff.
This is a very frequent spot actually. So these are the spots
Yeah,
which you have to master or at least get really familiar with the basic situations, like what are the rules of thumbs you have to follow. And if you do good enough in this, then you are halfway there or
okay,
almost
yeah,
there.
good to know.
Okay, let's see. So, for example, talking about these hands would probably not be valuable really for any of us. So we go with the next one, which has low match percentage, and we see this is probably the final table already. Is this voice at you or
Yeah, that's my door. I'll be back.
okay? We lost Questje. Famous last words. Yeah, I like it. Uh-oh. Some arguments. Hope we don't hear any shooting. At least we should convince the rubber to show his face on camera. How are you guys? Like in the chat, tell me a little bit about your day, your goals, whatever I can help with. I'm just really happy to listen to your stories. Like, how are you with your poker career? How was 2021 so far? By the way, if you haven't seen this new feature yet, let me switch back to another view, like full screen. This is a new feature of Check Decide. So this gives you notifications whenever someone did anything to your hands. So for example, someone reviewed the hand of yours, then you get a notification. Also, if someone reviewed more than 5 hands of a tournament of yours, then you get another notification. If someone commented to a hand of yours,
I'm back.
Hi, how are you? We were a little bit
was a package delivered.
worried
I thought
for
it was
you.
me. Yeah, I was worried too.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't expect the package today, so cool. Bad timing.
All right.
But we back.
Yeah, like
Go
on. I'm showing at the moment the new feature of Check Decide, the notification system, which really is a big boost in usability. So from now on, you get an instant notification whenever someone made a comment to your hand. So it really makes it easier to use. And if you click on the notification, then it leads you. It redirects you to the referred hand. I'm not doing that at the moment because then I lose Questje's tournament. Yeah. And another quite big news to announce. This is somewhat secret so far because we are still working on the details. But Jeff approached me that he had a pretty bad 2020 in terms of results in tournaments, and he asked me if I would participate in his new series, which would be very similar to the Tuesday tournament review. I would basically review hands for Jeff Gross.
Okay, cool.
And it probably starts tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central European time or 9:30. And I will help him discover some like basic leaks in his game. I already reviewed a few tournaments of his, and I think I will be able to help a little bit. And then Jeff also will invite other guests, like really big name guests. Like as you probably know, Jeff Gross is the guy who basically knows everyone in the world. He will have big name guests like Phil Hellmuth and Antonio Sfandiari or like Bill Perkins.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it will basically be a Tuesday tournament review version 2 or big version. So I'm really excited.
With the real pros.
Yeah. Hopefully I will be able to give or add enough value to the show. We will see. Obviously there are limitations to my knowledge, so I'm not saying I will be the best guy to review 5K tournaments. Obviously, there will be some spots where I can spot on some mistakes. But if a certain situation occurs and we are not able to decide which is the best decision, then we can still invite other guests for like 5 minutes to discuss that unique hand. So yeah, pretty excited about it. Probably starts tomorrow, but still no official announcement yet. Working on the details. Yeah.
Sounds cool.
So
congrats on getting him in.
Yeah, like I didn't mean to offend you if I said the real pros. Like
oh no, I started that. It's fine. I'm not a pro, so I hope to become one maybe, but I'm not yet. So
All right.
totally okay.
All right. Okay, let's get back to this hand, and which
Yeah.
is a very standard open. I'm pretty sure that this is the final table already, because you finished sixth, and this is around. No, this is probably final two. Yeah, probably final
Oh
two.
yeah. Yeah,
And
hard to see. I finished fifth, I think. Not that it really matters, but
okay. All right. Yeah, and you are facing a rejam. And do you remember like what we said about like let me switch back to this view. Do you remember what we said about how we calculate the bounties?
yeah, it's 1/3 of the start stack. So
Yeah, around. Yeah.
$5 would be like 1.5K ish.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me switch back once again so
So
that we
it's
can.
like 40 times start stack or something.
Um,
Uh,
no. First of all, you have to see like how many times the bounty the current bounty is of the original bounty. So the original bounty was like $10 or so. So this is
here it shows double. Yeah, here it shows double the amount, of course. Yeah, so it's 22
yeah
times.
so 22 times, and the starting stack was 5K. So 30% of that is like if like is like this, and times 22, just roughly. This adds to like 37,000 of chips to the pot as dead money, and this is just less than or slightly more than one big blind. So
Yeah, that's not a lot. No,
yeah, I hope you didn't call. You did.
I hope I follow too. Yeah.
So so one thing
Oh
about
yeah, I called. Yeah.
yeah, one thing about bounties is that people, especially in the late game, tend to overestimate it and play too loose. Because as you can see, this time this relatively big bounty is only worth one big blind. So he should
Yeah.
not be super tight with the rejams, because ideally he should have some fold equity here. But in practice,
I overvalue bounties for sure here. Yeah, because I thought, oh, like $200, that's a lot of money. You have to do it always relative, of course.
yeah,
But,
like
yeah.
in the late game, it can actually be closer to like 40% of the starting stack, but that still doesn't make too much difference. So
No, indeed.
yeah, so like that's 44. That's like 1.5 big blind plus. And if you take a look at the race calling charts, which I showed you last time. So
Yeah, I
this
downloaded it. I'm gonna use it.
yeah, so this is 16 big blinds effective, and this is the starting pot before anyone put any money in, and the bounty on Restealer, let's say it's 1, and the Restealer is blind. Is this the big blind or no, the small blind? It's okay. So, and we have king 10 off, and this lists you like what is the first range you make money against, and he should reach something ridiculous like at least 20% or closer to 30%, and you still just make a little bit of money. So in reality, I think the ranges will be somewhere around this. And this
Yeah, it's hard to read even for me, and I've got a big screen here. But
sorry. One second. I'm trying to enlarge it. Yeah, view, freeze,
that's better for me. Yeah.
unfreeze, and then we can see like how we do against certain rejams, and we can see that like what do you think actually he rejams here, like an average guy with a relatively big bounty on him would rejam against you?
16 blinds. I'm confused. Where's but the button is over there. No.
The button is here. In the yeah, he's the small blind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty tight. So maybe like Can you show the other screen again? Like 5s plus or something around there, or tighter.
Yeah, like 5s plus. Yeah, that's he made rejam 4s sometimes, but something like that. And something like
Ace-10 suited plus maybe. Yeah.
yeah, ace-10, ace-9 suited, ace-10 off. That's about it. And if we double check this range, like this should be somewhere in this neighborhood, and you are going to lose 2 big blind value there. And not talking about the value of your big stack here in the late game. So by calling this, if it goes bad, then you are dropped back to like 17 big blind, and your opportunities are your extra situations to make money and to put pressure on the other guys are just limited, really. So yeah, I really don't like this call, but looks like
I see why it's bad. So that's cool. So I learn.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like this is the format of this review. Like it's very efficient because we only talk about the hands where you played bad or questionable. But on the other hand, we don't talk about any hand where you played fantastic or
that's sad for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, there's the loading icon there. It's not on my Discord. Is that yours or how does it work?
Yeah.
I don't know if you see it, but it happened probably when I signed off for a bit, but I don't know.
I'm not sure how it goes. Like really.
It's not a big deal, but I was time pointed at it and I couldn't stop looking at it.
Now it looks fine. Maybe.
Oh yeah, you zoom me in again. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looked like if I minimize the Discord, then yeah. All right.
That's cool.
Okay. Do you see any unanswered question in the chat? No.
Alex likes the holy chart, and they want to see the screen a bit bigger, but I think you did that. So.
Okay. All right. So this was quite clearly a bad call against the rejam.
Yeah.
But we did well. So it's part of the game as well. Like we all remember cases when we ran bad. So there is nothing to be ashamed of if you happen to run good occasionally. That's part.
That's how I make a final table. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time, like it's just a question like how obvious that you are running good. Like sometimes you just get better hands and they hold, and then you can have the illusion that, hey, I didn't even get lucky. I always show the best hand, but what a luck that is, like to be able to show the best hand all the time. So whatever, you always have to be very grateful whenever you make a deep run, because that's definitely over expectation. Even if you happen to have a huge stack and you just finish 7th, that's still over the expectation. So you just have to feel really good about it.
I limped here too. Yeah. Interesting.
You overlimped the
I hardly limp, so I'm happy that I did there. But
yeah, you overlimped the under the gun limper, and that's I'm not a really big fan of, because the 4BB stack will jam a lot, and also this is not a hand which plays fantastic in this situation, but like in worst case you lose 1BB, so it cannot be a big mistake. With a suited hand, I would be very, very happy to overlimp, because those perform good in multi-way pots. With an offsuit Queen 10, I can imagine the fold being a little bit better. Isolating him, I'm not really a big fan of. He can like limp jam a lot of like medium pocket pairs, small pocket pairs, or ace-x 10s, and I don't think I beat his limp calling range, so I don't gain too much, but many times these guys can jam over my raise, and then I lose more. So either over limp or just fold, both are fine. In the later stages, I like an over limp a little bit more, because I can use my position a little bit better by putting pressure in some cases.
Yeah,
But
and we cover everybody. That's always nice, of course.
yeah, what do you think about this range, this 4BB isolation?
Yeah, for the big blind, right? Yeah, it looks pretty strong, right?
Yeah, it's super, super, super strong.
Oh, with the under the gun limper behind him, who might shove a lot too. So yeah.
Yeah. He's attacking an under the gun limper with a 4BB size. I think many times this range doesn't even contain hands like Ace King offsuit or Ace Queen offsuit, because they just jam those holdings.
Maybe calls with eights or elite checks with eights or nines, maybe even. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is almost like, in my experience, this is almost like always like tens or better in pocket pairs, and maybe Ace King suited, Ace Queen suited sometimes. Like, obviously there are always like surprises, like sometimes you run into a very sophisticated, very creative guy who somehow finds some, or reads the situation well enough and found some, I don't know what kind of isolations he should have here, like 10,
Ace 5 suited, maybe the classic. Yeah.
or something like 10-9 suited, so he can fold out some hands like yours, which dominates him, but he also flops good enough against the calls. So some hands like that could make sense. I would still very happily fold this. I don't think we do nearly as good as we should against that range. So
yeah, I like the fold. I think it's an easy mistake to spot, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good that I see it too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Print that off. Yeah. Get out.
The check is very good, and he bets. I think we have to call, but I don't have any good feelings about this one, to be honest. And on the river, he checks, and at least we see some showdown. Maybe I was super wrong. I don't know. Wow, I was wrong. Yeah, this is a much weaker hand than I would ever have expected. Yeah. Then your call was fine. Good news.
That's him specifically. It was okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's always good to see like new showdowns, which makes your update your population rates. But I still think that overall against an unknown guy, this is still a fold, because
I can't remember if I had any reads or what the stats were for him. I use Poker Tracker, of course, and I use the stats, but I can't remember. So maybe he was very loose or crazy, you know.
Yeah. If he has the stats like 60 VPIP and 40 preflop raise, then obviously this is a very fine call. But against like normal reggy guy, I think you just have to fold.
It's not likely, because I remember that at the final table, it were almost only winning players when we looked them up. So.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I was unlucky with the table draw after the table outcome there.
That's really surprising, especially in this period of the time of the year, like end of the year and early next year. Like this was early 2021. The yearly bonuses are still there, so people are crazy, and yeah.
Yeah, we had some recreationals along the way, of course, but at the final table it was really good.
Yeah, maybe that's a sign. Like in general, I normally advise my student not to play on PokerStars too much. Only some like big events where they have a chance to score for like life-changing money, but most of their grind should happen in other rooms where the fields are smaller, the fields are softer, and also in many cases the blind structure of the tournaments are more favorable for winning players, so the end game is deeper, etc. But obviously the worst in blind structure is GG poker. I really not advise anyone to play there if they actually want to make steady money in poker. Obviously,
it's all turbos or something. I've not played a lot on there.
Excuse me?
It's all short blinds or turbo structures on
Like
GG? Or?
there are different structures. There are some major events which they leave playable, but most of the regular tournaments, I've reviewed many of them for my students in Check Decide, and most of them are like 9 big blind average stack on the final table, which is ridiculous.
Okay, I've played a bit there and I didn't notice at all, but maybe that's also a long time ago. So
Yeah, for fun, it's fine. Their software is cool. There are a lot of fish, big recreational players, but if you want to make steady money, then it's not advised to play there. Yeah.
cool.
Hetty check. We would check this behind. We have backdoor flush draw. We have an overcard which gives us some protection. Also, we don't really fold out any better, and we don't really get called by any verse. But we have a hard time if we face a check raise. That's really really difficult. So this would be a fine check back. Also on this texture, as discussed earlier, the big blind has a lot of offsuit two pairs, offsuit straights as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Fedor Poets is saying that some week ago they changed and they roll back blinds on final tables to an average of 40 big blinds. That's amazing. That's really
cool.
really good news.
That's fun. Yeah.
Because then this
Interesting.
all of a sudden makes GG Poker is one of the best places to grind tournaments.
Yeah, sadly, there's an issue with the Netherlands, the NGT, so I'm not sure if I can play there anymore. That's sad.
Yeah.
I have to find something else.
Okay. Winamax, if you can play Winamax, that's also amazing.
Okay, yeah, I never played there. I think I played on Party and 888, GG. But...
Yeah, with 888, the trick is to, first of all, to plan the buy-ins as they were like 2 or 3 times bigger, because many times you have to re-enter, because they basically fill the guarantee by applying a really quick structure for the early levels. So if you happen to register from the first hand, then you have to make like 4 or 5 buy-ins to actually get to the end of the late registration. So rather than that, I advise you to maximum late reg 888 tournaments, similarly to ACR. And
okay.
One second. In the GG Master played against Joao Vieira, what a crusher. Yeah, Joao Vieira, NASA, he's a legend. Very cool dude. I really like him. His style as well. Yeah. He earned all my respect. Yeah, back to the considerations, like how to register in 888 and in ACR. The trick is to wait until the registration is almost over and just jump in. Yeah, you only get like 6 or 7 big blinds, but you still do better in terms of return on investment, because if you happen to double that 7 big blind to like 14, you are almost in the money already. So you make better money that way than being there from hand number 1 and re-entering 5 or 6 times, and even if you make the money, you are still a big loser. So in terms of return on investment, that's the best strategy. That's also true for ACR. And the good news is that in those rooms, the end game is pretty favorable, because by that time the stacks are really deep. And we lost you, Questje. Are you there, Questje? Is it only Questje or it's me? Chat, could you please confirm that you still hear me? Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Am I here?
Yeah, and you are here now.
Okay, I'm just disconnected. It's really annoying, but I fixed it.
Whatever. Yeah, so the good news is about 888 and ACR that the end game is really playable. The stacks are deep, so it's a good place to go there. But you have to be careful when you register and how you plan your bankroll, because these tournaments normally take 2 buy-ins or 3 buy-ins sometimes, even if you maximum late reg. So yeah, that's the trick. And these kind of tricks are like almost as valuable as knowing how to open raise, how to see bet, how to check raise it, and all those.
Yeah. It's a big portion of your ROI.
Yeah, definitely. Like, had I known all these info at the start of my career, I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars more at least.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, on the turn
Well, it's nice that you share these things with us.
I'm not sure if I will ever get back to like 100% grind mode. So that's why I don't keep anything, don't hold anything back, and I try to help my viewers as much as possible, and also my partners in Check the Side, like you are, obviously. All right. Yeah, facing the second barrel, I think you can fold. You have, from the button, you have many better hands to call with. Lots of pair plus flush draws, pair plus straight draws, straights, 2 pairs, stronger over pairs, whatever you want to call this bet with. You can fold here this exact combination.
Okay.
And
yeah, I did call. Okay, yeah. I see.
Yeah, like obviously he can, like, it really makes sense what he did here. I like the donk bet. This is his texture. He has all the right to do so. He can fold out many better hands, so clean his outs with the jack and the 9. So that's pretty good. And the turn was really good for him, and the river was time to give it up. So I like his play. But even with the showdown, I still think that folding on the turn is probably better. But this is worth a note that this guy may be competent.
Yeah, like I said, most were at the end, and we are like last 2 tables, I think. So yeah.
All right.
Nines.
This is often
Interesting.
tricky. You decided
0%.
No, like I'm thinking about it. Like, my initial reflex, like I reviewed this 127 hands in like half an hour or so. So I'm not gonna tell lies. Like I didn't spend too much time wandering over any hand. I just did my initial reflexes, and this is the time to discuss whether my suggestion is better than your original play or not. We lost you again, Questje. Are you? Yeah, you are back. Okay.
That was...
Maybe maybe your internet is a little bit laggy, or
I've not had any issues this year yet, luckily. But yeah, I don't know. I'll close some shit. We're fine. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the time to discuss whether my discussion is better than your original play, and I'm not sure really. Yeah, you can put a lot of pressure on the other guys. I don't think this can be a losing play. If they are like really passive, then you may consider it. But no, probably jamming is fine. Jamming is best. Yeah, they have a really hard time jamming this. Do you have the raw hand history of this? So maybe we can put it to HRC or whatever. We will post the HRC.
I can search it up. Yeah, I can send it to you later.
No after the show, I will run this hand in HRC, and we will see whether pushing here can ever be bad. But I don't think. And if
probably final table bubble, so they will call very light either way. But yeah, very tight. I mean, yeah. But we might lose value if we jam. I mean,
no, they will probably not rejam as many lower pocket pairs as they should to make this a profitable raise call with the ICM consideration. So I think open jamming is probably fine here. Because on the other hand, you don't really want to play flips against hands like king queen or ace jack, ace 10, which they might rejam against your raise, and then you have to call, and then you have to play a flip. And from this position, when you are clearly ahead of these stacks, you can fall down to 12 big blind. But yeah, against more aggressive guys who, like, let's say, rejam from here with fives or sixes, or rejam from here with threes or fours or whatever, and then this can be a fine raise call, but almost definitely questionable in terms of, like, both of them are fine, raise calling or open jamming, but I cannot really decide. We will post it to our Discord servers.
Yeah, cool.
Let
So let
me
the program decide. Yeah.
yeah let me try. I never tried this Discord bot, like or Twitch bot. Discord, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
So there is a link.
Everybody join. Yeah. Everybody join.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a pretty active Discord community. I personally take it seriously to answer any questions. So if you have any questionable hand, just come to our Discord server, ask my opinion. Obviously, pretty busy, but at least in every 2 days, I go through all the hands and I try my best to help.
Yeah, I've seen you still pretty active. That's how we met, by the way. I first posted a hand there.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up here. So
All right.
a lot of 100% in a row there.
Yeah.
Cool final table bubble I played, I guess.
Yeah, and then also as a big stack, you mainly have an easy time because you can raise a lot and they fold.
You
And
can see the hands. I have pretty good hands too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent hands. Decent.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the final table. Yeah. And
Yeah.
when you get to the final table, the first thing to do is to take a look at the stacks, like what are going to be the best spots to steal, which positions you should tighten up. Normally, you want to raise the most when the other big stacks are either early position or small blind, because those are going to be the positions where they will not fight back too much against you. And you want to avoid opening when the big blind is the big stack, the chip leader, or the big blind is the button. Then you want to tighten up a little bit. And also, if you see any particularly big bounty or any particularly tight player, then you may want to adjust to those as well. Very big portion of winning strategy is adjusting to these situations and not just blindly following the basic charts, because in the final tables you can ignore charts basically in most of the situations.
Yeah, of course.
And another thing is to open chart scope and start scanning your opponent. For this, I have a pretty good blog post which I shared in checkthesideblog.com. This is the one. Let me post it too. I'm not sure if you have blog a comment, but you have the link there. And and this is about like how you can estimate based on the chart scope results whether your opponent will be ICM conscious or just blind to ICM. Like as you are probably familiar with it, in final table situations, you cannot just blindly follow what HRC or other tools suggest you, because if your opponent gives you action like too lightly, then you have to tighten up. Even if HRC suggests that, hey, you can push any two, if your opponent will call you too light, then you will lose money. So for this reason, the most important info you want to know about your opponent, whether they will be ICM conscious or they don't even know the word ICM. And and for example, early finish rate is a good indicator whether they are ISIM conscious or not. Usually, guys with high early finish rate, they are either like cash game players who three bet a lot, get into big pots too early in a tournament, and yeah, they often get to the final table with big stacks, but they are generally not aware of ICM. They are not capable of giving up equity because they are not familiar with these concepts. So high early finish rate can also be a sign of a overly big ego, which is once again something a guy who you don't want to put pressure on because they will react aggressively. They will make losing calls, which also will lose money for you. So this is one of the main indicators you want to look for. Also, if someone filtered to a certain date, that's almost always a sign of big ego. So once again, you don't want to push that light against that guy because that guy will call you too light, and also the overall look of the graph, whatever. I summed it up in this blog post. I highly recommend it because this can save you
I will look at it for sure.
hundreds of dollars for sure, probably every month. So yeah, once we are done with that and we have a game plan, like when to open, when not to, we can dive into the action. In general, at the start of a final table, you are basically rooting for not getting any cards, because unless you are one of the cheap leaders and you can put pressure on the other guys, being the mid stack, you mainly just want to avoid confrontation. You just want to get to the final four, and then you can speed up a little bit. And if you were tight at the start of the final table, they may make notes about you being tight, and then you can take advantage of their read. And when it gets to 400 game, 300 game, you can start going crazy. You can start putting more pressure on them, and eventually win the tournament or get to the heads up with a whole different image than they anticipated at the start of the final table. So that's generally the game plan you have to follow as a mid stack, but this is still a very, very easy call. And on the flop, check calling is fine. You don't want to blow the pot against the other big stack. Your hand is not vulnerable at all, so check calling is fine. And probably a tiny little bet is the best way to go here. You may get calls from kings sometimes, but it doesn't make too much different because your floats are also king high, so basically no one bluffs here, but sometimes you can get some present calls, like courtesy calls from king x hands.
Present calls, I like that. I think I checked because he was the big stack and I wanted to play a small pot. I missed some value there for
sure. Sometimes some very creative guys can raise you with, because they can have some 5-4 which you don't really, or very rarely, or ace straight they can have, or whatever, like aces full, kings full, sometimes they can, but I doubt an average $22 buying guy will raise you too much on the river. So it's both unlikely whether you get called or you get raised. I like the tiny bet a little bit more, but no big difference.
Cool. Another ace-9. Offsuit this time.
Yeah, I think I just want to not get involved into this spot. Like in vacuum, probably raising is good, but with the ISIM considerations and given that our hand doesn't flop too good, I think I would just fold.
Okay.
The 280 is
probably limped along.
Yeah, like what was your plan here? Like
I raised. Yeah.
Yeah, what was your plan here? Like raising and calling against this guy, or raising and folding against him?
Well, yeah, I think only calling against the 2 blind stack. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would fold against the 18 blind, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
the 15 as well.
Yeah, like
So it's
it's
kind of a steal. It's like a.
huh. Yeah, like my
I'm not a big fan seeing it now, but that's probably
uh-huh.
what I tried. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can imagine this being profitable. I'm just not sure if it's profitable enough given the ICM pressure, because many times he will just limp call and with like suited broadway, suited connectors, whatever, and then our hand will not perform super good against that range. But whatever. I cannot say this is a mistake. I can even imagine slightly better than folding. It being slightly better than folding, but whatever, it worked. So heads off.
That's
All
yeah.
right, many probably folds to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah. Ace
And
back suited. Not sure what happened there.
let's see this one.
Probably one.
Just to see like how you lost your stack. Yeah, you just no, like this is a very
Let's see. Yeah.
fine gem in
Oh yeah, I
final
just jammed. Yeah.
in final tables and in high ICM situations. You generally want to push with blockers like an ace, which makes it significantly less likely to get a call. So if I can choose between like pocket deuces or ace-7 offsuit, I always take the ace-7 offsuit, even if it has lower equity when called. It just takes down the pot much more often. So I
But
like
in this case, I probably will jam deuces as well. Is that weird or is that too loose?
no. That's fine
Yeah.
probably, because you can put decent pressure on this guy, and against these
Yeah.
you don't really mind. But I think a7 offsuit will do better than uses, and this concept gets more and more important. The number of the player rises behind you. So for example, if you have 4 players behind you, then you even more want to go with blockers, even with the open raises, the small open raises, and also with the open gems whenever you have some of them. So yeah, I like the gem really. It's just unfortunate that you ran into like 2 jacks
Oh
or
yeah, the jacks and jacks. Yeah.
yeah.
Jacks and jacks.
How on
How
earth?
on earth?
How on
Yeah.
earth you didn't beat them? Like this is just so easy.
Clean outs, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just
Such a huge pot, man. If I win that one, I'm like close to. I'm chip leading, and I win like $1,000 in bounty there. It's
yeah,
sick. But yeah,
yeah.
it's
This is
fine. It's poker. I was behind. They had good hands.
yeah. But this basically broke the number one rule of stars, because I thought that in these cases
Seven always coming. Yeah.
it is mandatory to hit an ace or hit the overcard.
Yeah, or sevens, just multiple sevens. But yeah.
Yeah,
No, nothing I could do. Of course. No.
yeah. This is fine.
We had still 23 blinds left or something, and I made some letters off.
Yeah, and you have this one, which so now you are one of the smallest stacks. Yeah, in like League 2 probably. 2 big stacks, 3 middle stacks, and 2 smaller stacks. And your opponent limps, and yeah, like I probably jam, because I just don't think they trap limp enough in this spot, which they should. Especially in lower tournaments, they are just scared to give you any free card, and they just jam way too much. And on the other hand, with this holding, first of all, you have solid equity when called most of the times. Like obviously, if they have an overpair, then you are way behind, but you can still crack it. And you can fold out a lot of better hands. I'm not sure whether in final table situations this is a mandatory jam or not. It really depends on your opponent. If they limp a lot, then probably jamming is fine. If they are not the type of player, like if they gave you a lot of vokes earlier, then I would be cautious and I would just check behind. Flop is
Hey,
not.
Mr. Carps.
Yeah, the flop is fine, and the turn is even better. You probably want to bet decent, probably not 1/3 like I did, but rather like 200, because many times they have hands like King X or Ace X. They are happy to pay one big street as well, and then you reduce the stack to pot ratio for the river. So I would like to see a half pot bet, but the big bet, the almost pot size bet, I think that's just bad. They have a relatively easy fold with many of the ace-x combinations. You cannot work in enough bluffs with this sizing. Can you? Do you
Okay,
think?
yeah.
Like if I'm there with something like ace-x, I probably just fold, assuming that you just don't bluff enough here. You should do something creative like calling on the flop with something like Jack 8 of suit with the Jack of heart, and then on the turn. But I would still just bet small just to keep your range wide and jam river probably.
Yeah, makes sense. I can remember why I chose that sizing.
All right. Yeah, facing the check raise, I don't feel fantastic. We can be like really behind sometimes, but obviously we go with it. Hope for the best. And yeah, this was the best. All right.
Oh yeah. I remember that I was very sad that he raised first because I thought, okay, I'm out. See you.
Yeah, like
But
yeah,
I had to call, of course.
sometimes you will face like aces and like quads of kings or whatever.
Yeah. Or higher flushes sometimes, of course.
Yeah,
Royal
obviously.
flushes, maybe.
Yep. All right, the next one
And of
is
course, the final table, he doubled again, but
yeah. So this is a situation where the ICM pressure is huge on you because there is a much smaller stack. There is a stack which is significantly smaller than you, and you are fairly close to the chip leader. So this is a spot where you normally want to make a lot of like weakish laydowns just to protect your stack in general. Still, given you only have to commit to big blinds, this is a call. I would call here. He also has to be very cautious post flop, so I'm not afraid of facing too many like crazy bluffs, crazy barrels. So I would just call, and many times I take down the pot later on. I float one street, and on the turn I bet 1/4 or 1/3 pot. This will get the job done many times. So I think calling is best.
yeah, okay.
The way ICM works, that the bigger portion of your stack you commit, the more tight, the bigger the pressure is on you. So when you only have to commit like 2 big blinds, that's like basically no ICM. Obviously, if you do it with a hand like a small suited connector, which often will require you to commit your whole stack later on, especially if you do that out of position, then that's something to consider. So with low suited connectors, ICM can be really disadvantages for defending from the big blind, but generally you still want to defend fairly wide and make your decisions later on. So yeah, this would be a very fine call. But I appreciate your realization that this is a spot to play tight, so that's important.
Yeah. I probably thought it was close, but I probably called like Queen 8 suited or something, but I can go loser.
Yeah, and I think this is the hand where I suggested the rejam and you elected to fold, and I for for the last episode, I had this ran in HRC,
Oh
but
yeah, cool.
now don't have it. I had a really busy day. But
Spoiler alert. Yeah,
one second.
no problem.
I can probably import this, so at least I can show whoever is not familiar with HRC how this works. So I click on advanced hands. I have the hand history on my clipboard, so I just click here, and it also imports the bounties, and I have to select a payout structure. I'm going with.
We are not seeing this right now, by the way. I don't know if you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So let's go full screen. Yeah. So I clicked here to paste the hand history to HRC, and it imported the bounties as well, and the price structure. Yeah, this is Battle of Malta, which is slightly bigger than yours, unfortunately. And let's go with a smaller, like this is Hattie's tournament from last week. Obviously, this is different than the PKO structure, but good enough to like demonstrate and check what is possible and what is not. Not super accurate, obviously, but we run this and we will see roughly what we can rejam, and you will probably be right because I already checked this, and so we have to look for this node of the three, Bogosian raising. Yep, this one. Bogosian raising.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to see, but we'll believe you.
Excuse me?
It's a bit hard to see, but we'll believe you.
Unfortunately, I cannot enlarge this one.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
And it says that in balance you can rejam something like ace jack offsuit is marginal, ace queen offsuit. Some suited aces, they do better. So ace deuce suited you can rejam, but you cannot rejam offsuit aces, which is quite surprising for me. It says that Bogosian should raise 23% here, and facing your rejam, he should call tens and ace king. I think first of all they will probably raise call lighter than this. Ace queen almost always, ace jack suited, nines at least, and on the other hand they might raise much lighter than this. So unfortunately this is not how it should look, but let me see, and then we will fine-tune later on. So let's see what we do if he raises this light, which would be quite crazy given the circumstances that he's raising to the chip leader with mid stack. So this is probably the most optimistic assumption, but we will still not be a rejam. So unfortunately, my initial instinct was really off. Yeah.
Cool.
So
hey, we're not never too old to learn.
Yeah, obviously, like this is the way to go with ICM, because a lot can depend on the other stack. The lot can depend on your assumptions. So yeah, even if you have a blocker here and your opponent raises very wide, the pressure is so big on you, given that you have a lot to lose as a basically second place stack, or tying for the second place, that you have to be tight with your rejams as well. Even with the blocker, you cannot. So a7 off is a clear fold here, unfortunately. Maybe you can, if he's really loose, maybe you can implement some light 3-bets here exploitatively. If he's the type of guy who will not call you with marginal holdings, then that can be profitable. But the fold is the most standard. and the other guy can put a lot of pressure on the opener.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, let's
But
see.
would you recommend Hold'em resource calculator above ICMizer, or is it just what you're used to? Or
yeah, this was the tool I started with, but I don't know if there is any like big difference. Probably both of them are fine. But I really do think that one of them should be part of your arsenal. So these tools are extremely important for any serious tournament player, even not serious, like recreational players. I know quite a few who use them and are familiar with the ranges. So yep. Okay. Yeah.
Tarnum. I can't control it. It's really Luigi loading up, I think, because he's
No.
not.
I
see him.
minimize the Discord, and somehow then that loading screen appears. Anyway,
Okay.
let's jump
Not a big
to
deal.
one of the last hands. Jack 9 of suit. You elected to raise here. I really dislike this raise. You have to be extremely tight here. You are in second place. The chip leader is the button. He can rejam very aggressive on you.
See.
The big blind the same. He can rejam quite aggressive on you, and because your raise calling ranges is really tight here. So if anything, I would probably limp here if the button is passive. But in general, I just like a fold, and I would open like king 9, probably maybe queen 9 of suit, but that's still loose and against more aggressive guys.
It looks loose to me, so yeah, I agree. Yeah.
If they are all passive, really passive, then it can be okay. But in general, I don't like it. Not just because they actually rejam, but this is what you can expect to see a lot.
Yeah.
Because there is a huge gap between the range you open and the range you can call that rejam with, because obviously you have a lot to lose. The defend is fine. And yeah, what could we have done different? You decided to float here? Questje. Tell me a little bit about this.
Did I? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's pretty sick.
I have a nice little clip for this. Are you interested?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's get back. Yeah, so
yeah, I'm burning money there. Yeah, I don't know. I also be in a creative mood or something. Like there's lots of hearts and good shots that I can turn and into a bluff, But looking at this, it looks ridiculous. But that's what I maybe thought.
Yeah, obviously, like it's good that you see the backdoor opportunities. I just don't see how you can get there. How you can take away like equity from the other guy. How you can get money in when you actually get there. How you can actually like are you really rooting for the deuce of heart to check call another big bet on the turn, or what? Like
I have no idea why I chose this, but it's way too creative.
Yeah, and also you don't really have like too many ace-x combinations, so he will pressure, but you have many tens, many 8x hands, many weak draws, etc. So he will very frequently barrel on the turn, and that will be the end of the hand. Or
yeah.
So
I see it. I mean, I cannot. I have no excuses.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So if this was somewhat deeper stack and a7 use of suit, and you somehow decided to float with like king 10 backdoor flush draw, then that's an okay float, because if the flop is a7 use rainbow, then your opponent will assume that, hey, with somewhat deeper stacks, you may just go with some ace-x hands, and they will shut down a lot on the turn, and this allows you to bet on the river, or you just show down your king high, whatever. Or if they had something like pocket eights, then you can You have 2 overcards and you can actually get there, and you don't even need to bluff. So many good things can happen if you float on a dry flop out of position, especially if you are up against wide ranges and a fairly passive guy who will give up a lot on the turn. But this is not one of the cases, because now you are wrapping a weak draw, and they will punish you for that. So yeah, I really dislike this. All right.
Accepted.
And let's see, one of the
I'm
last
gonna
hands.
lose my chips. Like 3 hands left only.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
even know.
I would probably limp, but this is far from mandatory, because obviously the big blind will put a lot of pressure on you. But on the other hand, there are already more than 2 big blinds in, and you only have to call a half. So probably with a suited hand, you still want to complete. You have some trap hands.
Normally, I would limp a lot there, I guess, but I just felt like I want to save all my chips when possible.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, like it's reasonable to tighten up, but maybe a little bit too tight. This is, and yeah, the last hands are like fairly standard. This guy raised quite a few from the button. He is the chip leader, so you can expect to see some folds. Probably a good one if he's the tight guy. If he's a loose guy, if he's tight, then maybe questionable. But even the ICM pressure is not huge on you. You are almost the shortest stack, so you just want to go with it.
Try to win the tournament, right, at this point, and then double up is so huge if we manage to double up.
Yeah. That's another consideration which is important in ICM situations, that when you can gain a lot by doubling up, then you don't have to tighten up as much as normally. But when you can lose a lot by giving action, then you have to tighten up. Yeah, quite unfortunate. This is it. But yeah, overall, I really liked your play, and I enjoyed the run. Thank you really for being here. And
thanks for your review. I learned some stuff, so that's cool.
Hopefully, yeah. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And I hope the chat also learned some stuff.
Okay, great. Are you planning on jumping into a stream now, or?
Yeah, I prepared it so I can go live if.
All right.
If you want to raid me again.
Yeah, sure. I can. So
I will click live right now.
So it's like /raid and Questje.
You have to wait 2 minutes though, of course. But I already pressed live, so it will not take too much time.
All right.
I hope my webcam will be fine. I saw some really weird hiccups. Sorry about that. I don't know what's happened. But... And the random house call, the doorbell, I could never get people. So really unlucky timing, but yeah. All so right. Thanks. I will just disconnect my Discord. Thanks for the review. And I hope to see you in the stream later.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. Probably tomorrow with Jeff. Probably at 9 p.m. or 9:30 Central European time. We will be live with Jeff, most likely, with the first episode of his tournament review, and like crucifying Jeff, or whatever the name of the series will be, or league finding Jeff, whatever. So I'm really excited about that one. In case you like this show, please visit Check This Side. It's free to create your account, and for just $9 per month, you can find a lot of tournaments with detailed commentary from me. Really big scores as well, scores from all Impav. You can click on them, you can open them, you can see my comments below the below the replayer. So I really think that's probably the best value you can get now for $9. So yep. Thank you for being here. And next week we are probably going to have another guest from our Discord channel, Insane Clown. He had some nice runs recently, and we are going to review one of them. And yeah, I'm just going to try to rate Questje again. Let me see. Is he live already? Do you know? Can anyone confirm if he's live? Whatever, I will try. Yeah, he's not live yet. Or now? Right now? All right, I think we are there, and he will start in just less than a minute. So thank you guys for being here. This was Luigi signing off. See you next week, the same time, 7 p.m. CET, 1 p.m.